service hub and how we can fulfill like crazy fast and how we're even expanding it more. And I'll show you the process side of it, and then we'll dive into the actual side of it. So that way you can see the visual aspects, you can see the processing, you can see how it all works, how this big machine is actually working. You'll be able to see that. And again, why does this matter? This is the big reason why. If you fulfill at all for clients, right? Your fulfillment time takes months, weeks, or even days. And imagine you can do that within an hour, or imagine you can do that within 30 minutes. It allows you to build, to create, to have some freedom. Like, and I'll give you an exact example. Okay. This is the nerdy me. I'm going to share with you a little bit of nerdy me. I was playing a video game last night. It's called Arc Raiders. It's kind of cool. Okay. Kind of addicting, so don't do it. But anyways, I'm playing this thing and a friend jumps on and he says, I wish I had this specific solution. I was able to grab that information based on what he said, a little bit of information. I was able to create his whole thing like that while we were still talking. And I showed him it and he's like, how the freak did you just do this? That's the type of power that I want each and every person to have, not just us, right? Like, I want to teach this. I want to teach this in such a way because it creates freedom. And that's my whole agenda on all this stuff. I mean, I've been doing lives for a long time. My entire agenda on all this stuff is to show you processes and systems so you can free yourself. And my agenda is now you learn my systems and processes and you can embed those systems and processes into your creation. I love that. I know that sounds weird, but I love that. Okay. That being said, we're gonna dive right in, shall we? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So first, we're going to the screen, but this is the screen that I am dealing with right now. Okay. This is the screen. Okay. I have this side open, right? I have two levels, right? I use a tool called Power Tools, and I have a big screen, so I can see multiple different things at the exact same time. And I know that's crazy chaos. Okay. That being said, I'm on the right side up here. Okay, you see this? The right side, I have Claude. Why am I using Claude? Its logical processing is more superior than any other API out there. I've tried them all. And if you're like, no, it's not, Cam, test it. It's pretty freaking good. Okay. Now, I am on a larger subscription on this one, so I do pay a little bit more than the normal person for the Claude. So it gives me like Claude code and whatnot, but don't worry about that. Okay. We're just using Claude. You could use Claude for free. Okay. Next thing I have is just my communications piece. This is usually communications piece down here, like Facebook, what's running on with Facebook, so that we can see it. Okay. This center piece right here. Okay. This is usually where I pull up my applications. So I access my applications, so that way you can see like what applications I'm accessing. Again, I use our gFunnel portal because I have accesses to all my notes. I have accesses to all my services. I have accesses to all my software. I don't have to have 5 billion bookmarks. That's why I do it. If a client needs me, I can see it, right? So that way I have it organized. I have it, again, that's what I have down here. So if I need quick access. The next thing up here, right, this top part up here is usually my action board. So what I mean by an action board is when I'm going to do something, I usually do it here, meaning I'm sharing you this screen. It's up here. It's the top one, okay? That is this screen, okay? So jumping back, that is this screen, okay? The next thing I typically do, and I'm just going to show you, let me just open a new tab. This is what I typically do. I grab another screen right here. Again, I know it looks complex. I know. I grab another one. This is now my notes. Again, it's still in gFunnel. It still saves on my timelines. So now I have my notes. These are notes for a timeline piece. The last thing that I do, right, I pull up a sticky note. So let's say this is a sticky note. I just do that. This is in case I need to really quickly grab something, throw it up here, and leverage it. That's basically now my workstation. Okay. I have a few other things like on the left side, I have my Discords open. I have my communication threads. I have a bunch of things because I have not just this screen that you're seeing, but I have a few screens. So I have those things open so that way if any type of notification or anything comes to me, whether it's an email, whether it's a text message, whether it's a Discord message, whatever the case it is, I can see it, I can respond to it, or if a teammate needs me, whatever the case is, I am engaged right there. You don't see that, but that's what I have on my left side. And on my right side, it's usually entertainment. It's usually like I throw in like a YouTube or a Paramount or whatever the frig it is. Maybe I'm watching a video. Maybe I'm doing stuff like that. That is now my work system. Okay. Next, let's dive in to show you what I'm talking about on the service module. Okay, so we'll dive in right here. Okay, so we're right here right now. We're going to dive into the service module. So If you're going to access it, again, you can access it with a free account, right? If you're going to access it, you click on this guy right here, okay? There's something called service, okay? You click on it, and this is it. What this is just a navigation hub. Does that make sense? Navigation hub is all this is. It looks pretty, right? It looks pretty, but really what does it do? It directs people to an action, meaning if they want to generate revenue, like leads or whatever the frick they want, sales, partnerships, whatever the frick they want, they click on revenue generated. And then I have a organization based off of revenue generation, right? Can they submit a ticket, right? Are they submitting it for themselves? Are they submitting it for us to fulfill, meaning us as a company to fulfill? Are they wanting to delegate it to somebody else? We did these specific 3 sectors because of a few things. Number one, we're not the best. Wow, shock, right? There's probably people that are smarter than me, better than me, and everything else under the sun. And you probably love it, and you probably love those people. Great. I'm not here to change the operation, so what do? I just add delegate to somebody else. If you love those people, great. There's a section for you. If you love us, great, you love us. If you love yourself, great, you love yourself. Doesn't matter, right? I just do it for a process to move it forward. So let's say I'm delegating it to somebody. Click on I'm delegating it to somebody. Then you click here, you put your email to connect to your database. You put the delegation, the person that you're delegating it to, as well as their relationship, because we want to make sure you're organizing this correctly. You put in your project, your title, your information, your videos, and you press submit, right? Pretty easy form. It's a form, okay? It does all of the messaging for you. It builds the entire executive scope for you, the executive summary for you. It does everything that is needed. It creates subtasks for you. Crazy stuff. Why? We connected it to AI to make it easy. That's why. That's the easy part, okay? So that's why we have it. And that's for everything. I need to do a newsletter. Okay, do you want us to do it for you? Do you want to do it yourself? Or do you want to delegate part of your team to do it, right? I'll just delegate somebody in my team to do it. Great. Fill it out. Tell them what you need. Tell them what the due date is. Press submit. It then organizes that automatically for you. Okay, and it organizes it in a backend system too. I'll show you the backend system so you have an idea. Okay, and I'll just build this thing. So let's just say, okay, let's do this, right? cam@gfunnel.com. Let's just do this, okay? Delegation, I'm going to delegate it to John Smith. And I'm just going to show you. It is john.smith@gfunnel.com. And I'm just showing you this system, but then I'm going to show you of like what we're evolving, right? So let's just say this. Create the best website ever. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Best website ever, right? No context whatsoever. But I'm just showing you. So then you can put your due date in. It's due by right freaking now. Priority is urgent. Do it now. Boom, boom, boom. Exclamation marks with fire and stop signs and XYZ and emojis. No, kidding. Okay, I press submit. Easy. Easy. Delegate. Your delegation will, or your delegate will receive everything they need. Now, this is the information that it's sending. I put a fake email there, but now they will get the entire instructions of what they're doing, the entire SOPs on everything that's going on. They'll get every software that they should integrate. If you already have like your database and it's like, these are all my softwares, it'll organize it in every software that they'll integrate, and it'll do basically everything for you. So you're like, oh, cool, done. That's it. That is the work. Oh my gosh, you just delegated it to your team or to us, right? Or to yourself. It does this exact same thing. Now, what does that do? So let me pull up an account really quick. So I'll kind of show you, and then I'll show you what we're evolving. So that way you can kind of see it even deeper. Okay. So let me pop this up. I'm going to pull this up on screen. Okay, here's our on screen. So now here's a quick little dashboard, and we're going to change this dashboard to make it look great, right? So the first thing is it shows the service plan. So now this is the service plan. Let's say this is a user that is hired us for services. They have their set amount of hours. Anytime that we're working on stuff, it kind of like Clickable or any of the other, or Lovable, I guess, or any of the other softwares, we count the hours. Our just hours are a lot better than most every single other person, like meaning we can get stuff done within like a 3-hour period that it takes most people a week. And that's why people choose us, but I won't go down that path. So, but anyways, we have some easy stuff. So the hours used, we calculate the amount of revenue that's saved, and we, of course, organize the projects, okay? So now you can come in here, you can see these projects, and you can say, oh, I just requested a newsletter. Here's my specific ID, right? Or I just, this specific one with this specific attached XYZ, right? And let's just say you wanted to do another request or you wanted to go deeper. I'm going to show you a little deeper, okay? And we would usually we have like boxes that we add here, right? And those boxes would take you to something like this. Like, let's see here, I want to see the exact details of everything that's going on within my complete operation. Whoops, not studio dot. Usually I would just click this link right within our own software. But anyways, I'll just show you. So then what it would do is it would take you to your specific folder. So now these are like company, in a sense, agencies that we run, right? Within those agencies, we have certain companies in which we run. Let me just make sure that they didn't reset it. Hopefully they didn't reset it. I'll have to double check. Maybe they reset it. Let me just check really quick. And a Southern Grill. No, they didn't reset it. So anyways, a company then would have their specific piece. So if I jump in here, right, project is Anna's Island. They would have the different plans in which they have. So what the plan includes, they would have the different builds, which is like their diagrams and XYZ. They would be able to see the workload. They would be able to see the time in which is there and all the other crap, crazy details to run the operation. This is the complex side. But on the surface side, this is easier to see than the complex side, if that makes sense. This is easier to see. So this is what we call a micro SaaS. It's easier to see, okay? The next piece, which is not showing, I haven't updated it, that's why. But we have a next piece. So I'm just going to jump back really quick to the next piece. So showing this. So let's just say, right, your person, this is the next piece that we're adding within here as this is evolving. And again, this is the make sure the operation is organized and executable. That's the first step. The next steps is we evolve the processes. So we learn all the processes, we learn all the operations, we learn out, and I'm saying learn, we know, but we implement those. Then we take it one step further. Eventually, this is probably going to be a little banner, cute little banner with a little chat screen from AI that you just tell AI what you need and it'll organize all of the folders and XYZ for you, process all the data, and it'll say, this is what we suggest you to do. We want you to build a marketing campaign or XYZ. We'll do that, but first thing is organization of data, documentation of everything, right? And making sure the operation is working smoothly. And then we evolve. So this is where this whole live is about, this evolution that we're bringing to. The evolution is an interconnection of not only all of the software that everybody has, but now, jump again, so we have like the resources pieces. So anytime like a new idea is shipped or sent, and all of a sudden we don't have the documentation for you. If you notice the last live that I did, it was a organizational live. It builds you out and structures and organizes all of the documentation, all of the things within your own Google Drive. Make sense? Okay, cool. If something's missing, we will create the document automatically for you, if that makes sense. Like, so that way you have this. That's how the system's working, and the beauty of it is it's always expanding. So that's one side. And again, I did a live. It was my last live. If you want to see it, go see it. If you want the JSON file of what we just built, the AI system, let me know. I will give you the AI or the JSON free. You can plug it into your N8N and you can have the same structure and system complexity, crazy organization system that I just built. You can have that, okay? Okay, now let's move on. Okay, that's the resource side. Next side, this is another side that we're evolving, okay, is roles and structure side. So if you notice, each and every department have specific roles, meaning revenue generated, right? This is anyone and everyone that is involved with revenue generation, okay? Now, there's a few options that we're adding here. One of the options are, so first you can, of course, see the roles. You can see the specific skill sets that they have, right? How we're evolving this is one of two parts. So we already have the hiring piece. This is the hiring module that we've been testing, that we can get you probably 40 plus applicants a month, pretty easy, right, on the human side. The other side, though, is the AI side, okay? Now, this is where it gets kind of unique because each and every role has its own responsibility, has its own structures, has its own everything. One of the modules that we're evolving right now to adapt this is, again, you'll be able to click hire, and then you'll have an option. and what this option will be. And you can explain the role. You say, I think it's a CMO, right? Well, I'll put a generic one there so you can, again, I think it's this. You'll have an option to select whether it's a human or an AI. And I know that's interesting, right? Because you're running a crazy business enterprise and you don't want AIs to do it, right? But will have the option to be able to hire a human or an AI or a combination, meaning you have an AI that is an assistant that is empowering that specific role so that specific person that is there can be the most effective at their job, okay? And what we're doing, so I'm kind of showing you the back end, right? So let's say you'll have, again, this is the evolution. You'll have a piece where you're like, oh, I need to talk to my chief marketing officer. And let's just say you have the AI. So there's a few things. So number one, if you have a person, you're going to have a person profile. You're going to have their video links, right? So that way you can jump on their calendar, you can jump on their video, and you can message them and contact them. You're going to have a contact card for the human. So you can, again, run your entire operation here. They can be completely remote, and you'll be able to click on them and talk with them. That's one side. And on the AI side, similar piece. You'll be able to click on it. You'll be able to call it. You'll be able to message it. You'll be able to do, it'll have its own contact card as well. Now, I know that's interesting, right? Because you're like, wait. So what you're saying is I can either hire a human or hire an AI, and the AI is going to be programmed in such a way that it's going to do this role. And it's like, you got it. That's what we build, right? We build those things, right? And the mixture of those two, you're like, so I can get a person in this position, and that person in this position can now use and leverage the AI, and the AI is connected there. And it's like, yes, but not only is it connected there, it's connected into the hierarchy, meaning the AI is connected to every single role. So that way it makes sure that it's answering the correct question and it's not just giving you hallucination, right? So again, if you know anything about AI gives you a lot of hallucination, right? Like let's say you have something that's programmed as a CMO that's broad programming. The hallucination, it starts talking like it's a CEO, or it starts talking like it's a sales rep or some bullshit, right? It just doesn't work. So we eliminate the entire hallucination. Now, how do we do that? Again, because again, you have a simple card. How do we take that complexity and bring it here? It's the exact same way how we take this complexity, right, and bring it there, right? It's the same, similar process, different variable. So what we do is we use our software that we already have. I'll just show you. We use our software and we give this software to people. So this is part of the software subscription. Part of the software subscription that we give is a lot of applications that normally cost a lot more than what we sell them for. I mean, they cost a lot more than what we sell them for. But we give you all of the tools and resources for that entire organization, so that way your AI can be synergistic with your entire operations, with the entire business, with the entire growth. That's what we do. But I'll kind of show you in depth. So let's just say you desired to go deeper. Like you're like, I want to talk and see these exact AI officials and what they do, right? Because there's that surface level. Here's the depths. So diving into the depths, we would jump in, we would have an AI employee, and now you would have your own dedicated database. This would be a database, your own dedicated AI specific CRM, right? With all of the AIs that you chose to have programmed for you. Example, this one, right? This one's one of our dedicated assistants. So now you would have, we call it Emma, right? Or executive matrix for management assistant, right? Emma for short. And what Emma does is she has a complex neural network of crazy amounts of prompts, meaning she has a system prompt. This is a prompt. It understands. This is a prompt. This is a prompt. This is a prompt. So we build out custom prompts because we know AI can think if it's giving the right information. So we have a bunch of different custom prompts. We then connect those specific custom prompts to create a flow or a network flow. So this way we understand, how does it think? Why does it think? How does it react? Why does it react, right? And then what we do is we can plug in each and every prompt into an executable state, meaning I can say, hey, you just jumped into the intake form. Well, since you jumped into the intake form, I want to activate some of the software. Then we can activate tags, we can activate automations, we can activate software, whether it's, again, oh my gosh, we don't have an AI, we suggest an AI, and now we have the system automatically create an AI that's pre-programmed, whether that's the case, whether we're capturing data as a case, whether we're triggering a software to act, like an RPA, robotic process automation, to go and act on the web. Maybe we're triggering AI to process data. Maybe we're doing, again, whatever that operation, and I mean the operation, that role, that specific role that the AI has, it now will function. And now what that does, right? And I'm showing you this, the next level. So I showed you organization level. This is the next level. What that does is this, okay? Let's jump into the drawing board just a little bit so that way you can see it, okay? We're going to jump into our, I think we already have a service hub. If we don't, I'm going to create a service hub so that way you can see it. And I'm going to do this as quick as I can. Usually we design pretty freaking quick, okay? But I'm going to do this one. I'm going to say service hub, okay? So service hub, do I have it? Do I not have it? Let's see, service hub, service hub, service hub. Nope, I have all the videos on it, but I don't have it. So we're going to call this one service hub. So this way you can see the in-depth process of the service hub, okay? And again, if you want to create this, create it. Right, we're moving pretty quick. Create it, okay? So now, how does this service hub work? So first, again, if we're creating, and I always teach this the exact same way. So if you know any of my videos, I teach the exact same way. This is data in. I either put data in or I put traffic here as a cloud. So this way you can see it. Meaning, like as a service hub, I'm submitting a request. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So, and I'm just going to do this one quick. I'm not going to too much in depth. So we're going to say data in. Okay, data in. Then what ends up happening is that data is processed. And I'm going to show you just in 3 steps how easy this is. Data processed, and then desire delivered. Pretty easy. That's not too crazy, right? Data in, right? I'm going to change the shape, maybe change the size to make it look a little cutesy, right? Again, we can change all those in the future. But we have, and I'm going to zoom in so that way you can see it. This is operations at its finest. This is operations. And I'll dive a little bit deeper into the process of how it works. If you desire to know how it works, I'll dive into it, okay? If you don't desire, you're like, screw that, I don't desire it, just do it for me. That's why I'm here. That's exactly why I'm here. That's why people pay. That's why people hire us. That's exactly why I'm here. But if you want to do it yourself, by all means, I teach everything. Everything that I've ever done is a live video. You can watch it, right? But basically what's going to happen is data in, data processed, desire delivered. Okay, so now let's expand that just a little bit, okay? So first we have our departments, okay? Departments. And I apologize if the background noise is bad. Let me try to adjust it. There we go. But you have your departments. From your departments, okay, so there's specific departments, you're going to have your roles. Okay, roles. And from your roles, you're going to have a few different things. You're going to have responsibilities, right? And you're going to have skills, okay? And then you're going to have one other thing, skills, and I'm going to call this your connection. We're going to call it that, right? Because you're going to have a connectivity within software. And that's a human, right? A human. Department, responsibility, and roles, right? We're going to organize this just a little bit different for the AI, okay? So we have department, we have our roles. I'm going to grab this responsibilities. I'm actually going to bring it down to the bottom, okay? And now I'm going to pull in our skills, our connection, right? And I'm going to add one more, which is our knowledge. Okay. And then it goes into the responsibilities, right? So that way it's working back and forth with these specific metrics, right? It's knowing these specific things, knowing when it needs to gain knowledge, knowing when it needs to gain connections, knowing when it needs to gain certain skill sets, knowing its responsibilities. Maybe its responsibilities evolve, right? Then here's our roles. So now we have our roles that come in. right? And our roles will connect to all of this guy. Bring that thing up, okay? And I know this is, again, we can keep it the same, and I put here's your roles, here's your responsibilities, and then here's how it's connected. Maybe if the mind works better, again, because this adapting this process in your mind is maybe like, I don't know what the frick you're talking about, Cam. Like this doesn't make sense. I'll just make it like it's normal human friendly, right? We'll do human friendly based off of what society has taught you. Okay, so this connections, right? I'll just do it like this backwards. Okay, goes into your skills, goes into your knowledge, right? And then we're talking about AI here, how AI will function. Okay, so then you have your department, right? Easy, easy, understandable, right? So now I'm going to copy this because let's say this is a the ability of an AI. Let's just say, right? Because it's knowledge, it's understanding, it's processing is all involved with that. Now let's copy this. So let's say I have that role. Let's copy it again. I have this role. Okay, just for easy sake. Okay, and now I have a department. Maybe they're in other different departments, right? Now a task comes in, and you're going to see why I put the responsibilities down here. You're going to see the exact process of why. But let's say a task now comes in. A task, a project, an idea, any of those things, right? Comes in. Well, the process is it doesn't connect to this first. The actual process is it connects into the responsibilities first. It's a filtering system, okay? That's why I was drawing it the other way. But again, as a human, this is what you're used to, right? Not that I'm not human, but just sharing. Okay, task is going to go through the hierarchy of it's going to say, well, who are and what are the responsibilities, right? And it's going to have a hierarchy. The role actually is part of the hierarchy. So to say, who has this responsibility, right? And let's just say, again, I'll zoom out. Sorry, I zoomed too far in. Let's just say it has this responsibility. So again, let's just say you have multiple different agents here, and I'm going to jump a little bit in the weeds and get a little bit complex here, okay? But you have a task that comes in or a project that comes in or whatever the frig it is, right? What is a task? All a task is, so this way you know it's documented steps. That's all task is, documented steps, right? Now, let's just say, again, you have a person. So this is now a person, right? This is, I'll call it the user, right? User is easy to do. A user has a request, right? And I'll just give you the full picture so you can see the full picture, okay? They have a request. That request is then processed and organized. So again, user, request, and I'll just call it data. I'll just call it organized. That's easy. Organized, but it's a data processor anyways. So you have this user requests a task or request, whatever the frig it is. It goes in, it then organizes it. It then creates specific steps. Those specific documented steps are going to then have, right, a few different things. It's going to have the skill sets. It's going to have the knowledge, and it's also going to have, I'm going to just separate this just a little bit so that way you have a clear picture. Okay, and I'm going to put some dots here so that way you know the data is connected and not the actual action, okay? But it's going to have these specific interconnections. And again, I know this is probably like, why do I care? Why do I care? I'll explain it, okay? And I'm going to make this a little synergetic, I guess. There we go. Symmetric, not synergetic, symmetric. Okay, just for pretty. Okay, so the documented steps. So again, this processes the data. It organizes it in documented executable steps. And then it organizes it based off of what are the skills needed, what are the connections needed, and what's the knowledge needed, right? And it does that same approach. So imagine this same approach. It does it and it connects it to all of the different agents. Okay, all of the different agents. So it's organizing. From there, it goes to the hierarchy. So again, this just organizes and says, let's filter out by all of the skills. If we know all of the skills, we know all of the roles that are available to achieve that specific task or subtask. From there, it goes to the actual big task and it says, now let me assign the roles of that task based off of the responsibilities of either the human or the agent, right? So now we can say, okay, I have a task. It needs to be assigned to 5 different people with these separate skill sets, right? So now the people need to know information. So part of the information they need to know is, what am I doing, right? How am I doing it, right? So they need to know what they're doing. They need to know how they're doing it, okay? They need to know their incentive for doing it, so that way it drives them forward. And they need to know their KPIs, meaning their deliverables, meaning what's expected of that specific project, what's expected of the delivery, what's those things. That's what they need to know. And that can be all organized, right? That's called the delegation system that we already have in place, where somebody says, hey, send it this. If we know that person's profile, we know how they like things delegated, how they like things organized, we organize it for them, right? We just build a little data profile and then we can just send it to people. And then again, there's only 16 different personalities or 19 different personalities or whatever the frick it is. You just, all we need is 19 different profiles basically ever. And then we have the best service department system that could ever exist, right? That's kind of the idea. But anyways, so now we have it where it's organized. So the documents, again, a request comes in, it goes and organizes it, organizes the task and automatically assigns, right? So we already have this, in a sense, working and available in the back end. This is how we can do things so quickly. How we can, again, somebody comes in with a task, we grab all of that chaotic data, right? We call it chaotic data. It's just give us a data dump. We need the diagrams of everything. We need the processes and how they work. And we need an interconnection to the raw data. If you give us that, that's called the user giving a request. We then have a system that will organize all of that, document all of the steps, create all of the tasks, and then it'll find the specific roles and responsibilities, and then it'll go in and it'll deliver those tasks to those specific roles, and then those specific roles within those specific department will then fulfill that said task, right? Based upon the person choosing yes or choosing no, right? Because the human has the final say it and everything, right? So that's how we do it. Now, how does this benefit people? Right? Because this is complex. Who gives a shiz about this? It's too complex, right? Well, this is where it gets unique. So let's just say this is where the AI is working, and it's working very well. Okay. Well, if we add this human here, let's just add this human here, right? If we add this human here, and let's say this human can then talk. So I'll zoom in so you can see. Let's say this human can talk. And these guys can kind of correlate ideas. Let's just say theoretically that's the case. I'm going to bring this guy here. The case is that they can talk back and forth. And let's just say this AI has a neural network of all of the roles and responsibilities. It has a neural network of all of the knowledge, all of the connections, right? All of the skill sets. So this now one AI, right, compounds to another AI and another AI and another AI to kind of give it a thinking-like system, not just this fake AI where it processes an algorithm, but instead it gives a problem-solving type, we'll call it reality or consciousness, right? So now let's copy this. Let's just say, I don't know why I copied the AI. I want to copy the human. Let's copy the human here. No, I don't want to connect. Why am I connecting you? Copy, paste. Okay, let's copy this human here. And let's just say the same thing exists here with that specific human role. The same thing connects here with that specific human role, right? It's the same thing. Now, if this human can speak to this AI, again, we'll just call this one the AI, the AI as a counter or a sub or an assistant, and that AI is neural networked into all of the other roles, and not only neural networked into all the other roles, it has the profile card of each and every human. So it knows who to talk to, when to talk to, what to say, based upon skill sets, based upon personalities, based upon responsibilities. A task can then come in, boom. Let's say that task is given first to the AI. Let's just say, The AI then organizes every aspect needed for the human to take action and says, hey, I've weighed everything for you. Here's your risk analysis. Here's this, and it needs to be executed. But I need your okay. Now the human just looks at it and says, I like this. I approve. They have the ability to choose the hunches, right? Like, in my stomach, I feel like this is the best decision. They have the ability to choose the most effective, efficient way and manner possible. They have the true ability to then analyze the actual choice that they are making. That is the power of the system that we're putting together. They have that. And it'll give them options, of course. It'll have those little options at the bottom to talk to them and say, do you want to go with the gut instinct? Do you want to go with this? You want to go with that? Or just tell me what you want. Let's figure it out, right? Has the ability to do that. Now, what does that mean? What that means is technically, you could have, let's just put the one human overlord. We'll just call it that, overlord, right? Technically, you can either have, there's a few plays, a few things that you can do. As an enterprise, you can have all of the staffing that you ever want, right? And you don't need to fire anybody, right? So you don't say AI is going to replace your job and you don't need to fire people. That's one path. Another path is you fire everybody, right? Because you have the choice. Either way, that's the culture of the company. There's no control mechanism on what they do, right? You empower them, and then based on what they choose, it doesn't matter. You still empower all of the individuals. You empower this specific role. If this person fires this person, I'm just giving you an example, this person, I'm sure, can build out systems and processes and operations a lot more effective and a lot better than this person. Most people are better and smarter on the lower levels than they are at the higher levels. I know that sounds weird. These guys are more the visionary, see the process type people. These people are in the depths of the experience, right? But that's one side. Now let's step back a little bit and just theoretical. Let's just say you're not this big enterprise. Let's just say you're a freaking individual human. You're a human. That's it. You're a human, right? You're just one. You're not many. You don't have a team. You don't have anything. What this allows for is it allows for one to serve thousands and two to serve tens of thousands. That's weird. Where does that come from? Another story, another time. Anyways, if you go down that path, you can go down that path. There's scripture and XYZ on those things. If you want to go down that path, go down it. But again, let's not go down that path for a sec. Let's just talk human to human. What this allows for is one person, we'll call them one, right? One person to manage every single role, whether they have the knowledge or not, because these systems are going to give them the best knowledge that is currently available based upon the ever-expanding knowledge of the world, right? Because there's knowledge that's expanding and growing in XYZ. It's able to give that to this person to allow them to make whatever choice they desire. That's the power of it. Now, what does that actually do? Like let's say measurable things. Well, normally, let's say you have an operation and that operation requires, let's say an enterprise, it requires $100,000 a month in operational expense and salaries and costs, right? Because you need specific roles for specific things. Technically, you can erase all of that, gone, right? Every aspect of that gone. And if you need a human factor in there, again, we're here to serve. So jumping back to this side, right? If you need people to do it for you, we're here to serve. That's us doing it for you. You can do it yourself. We'll organize it, XYZ, or your team to grow if you have the team. Does that make sense? Hopefully that analogy and that system makes sense, okay? It allows you as one to act as many. You as one to, when I did a little post and I say, I'm going to touch on part of that, but how do you allow yourself to 10x, to 50x the way in which you process stuff in your mind, your intelligence, right? Your cognitive ability. How do you 10x to 50x it? Here's a part of it. This is just a part of it. That's a part of it of how you do it, right? The other part of how you do it, I mean, I won't go down that story yet, but I'll do that story for another time. I'll hold that. I'll hold that as like my little secret. I'll tell you though. I'll tell you in the future, but not now. But this is one part of it. This is how you increase your cognitive abilities 10x to 50x. And not only that, these systems, since you have this connection here, are actually doing things for you. And how does this all relate? Like, if you're like, well, this is a great theory, Cam, this is so good theory. Like, your theory is so great, right? Oh my gosh, it's a good theory. Well, here's how it works in actuality, okay? So, again, why I went over those multiple screens. I have AI here to process and organize data, okay? Pretty easy. The modules that we're building is connecting all of the systems together as one so you can have one message, which is, again, you have all of your software, which we, again, will connect into and do whatever for, but you to kind of sit here like this command board, this command center, we'll call it the command center, and the command center allows you to do every little action. And again, right now we made it look cute like this because that's what's relevant. It'll change the look and feel here. I can zoom in more. It'll change. This look and feel will change, right? It'll change to be an actual command board where you see all of the stuff if you desire to see the chaos. Our goal is to take the chaos away from you, right? But actuality, does this work, right? Does this work? Well, I can tell you this. We have clients that we fulfill for, okay? We fulfill these things. And I'm going to show you a little secret of what I do. Part of a secret, you can expand from there. Part of a secret of what I do, of where somebody can come in with $1,000. Let's just be real, okay? They come in with $1,000 website request. Their budget's $1,000. How can I build that entire desire, the integrations and XYZ and everything that they desire within maybe 2 hours? If I build it within 2 hours and I deliver it to them exactly the way in which they desire, right? Whether it expands or not, technically, I made $500 an hour, right? That's easy math. Technically, I did that. Theoretically, that's smart. That's brilliant. I can $500 an hour. I mean, that's a small project. $1,000 for a website is low. Most people charge like $2,500, $3,500, $5,000, $10,000. Now, let's just say a business operation. A business operation, like let's say building a dashboard with all of the data and everything working and the entire operation working, that's like a $60,000 deal or a $100,000 deal. Those are big deals, right? Those are big deals. So imagine you had the processes and knew the knowledge and ways of executing in such a fashion that you could now fulfill, let's say, a $60,000 product or project yourself, if you desired, right? You don't have to, but yourself, that's the one, yourself, or with a team to make sure you have the highest amount of margin with the less amount of responsibilities. Again, that's why I wanted to place that responsibilities in a different sector. Hopefully that logic makes sense, that chess move makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. That's why I wanted it to place there. But again, what if you can do two things? You can either take on the responsibility yourself, make more money. You can push off or delegate the responsibility to somebody else. And again, you're still making a crazy margin. If you sold a $60,000 project, imagine $60,000 project, you can get it done less than a week. Let's just say that. Let's just give it whatever the case it is. Normally it would cost 6 months worth of time, dedicated team to do. Let's just say now you can do that yourself and you just made $60,000 that week because you were good at marketing. You had distributors that came in and brought stuff up. That would be crazy, right? That would be freeing and freedom, right? And again, going back to the analogy is I was playing a video game with my friend. My friend asked me for a design, a system, software, those things. I was able to create the entire thing then within about a 30-minute time, just with a simple connection, a video connection, right? Now, again, I'm telling you these things. Now let me show you, okay? Hopefully I've put your climax up to that amount, we'll call it, right? Maybe get a little laughs. I don't know. But hopefully I've aroused you enough to engage, okay? Now let's dive in. And What I should do is put to be continued and create the anticipation. I'm not going to do that. Okay. I'm going to just dive in. I'm going to show you exactly what it is. So that way you don't have to wait any longer. And there's not going to be a little secret, right? There's certain things that I hold secrets, but this one's not going to be too much of a secret. So let me show you. So here we go. So first step. Okay. First step. And I'll show you this screen and I'll show you this screen so that way you can see all of it working in action. Here's the first step. So you see what I just did? See this? Not too bad, right? Not too bad. Next thing, right? What I did, and there is one step that I did forget, and this happens. One step that I kind of forgot while doing this. And this is the first step, and I'll show you it so this way you can see it, okay? So you see my big screen. This is the very first step. So the very first step is I pull up a recording software that transcribes everything that I do, and it creates a guide of everything that I do. In this case, you see this. Hopefully you see it. I know it's not zoomed and I know it's far away. This is called Komodo, and I'm going to show you this really quick. So I'm going to show you this right here, okay? So if you're here, we white label this software, and again, we do give this software out. It is called On-Screen. This is On-Screen, okay? But the real name is called Komodo, okay? Now, what Komodo does, I'll show you this, and I'll show you its importance so there's no missing gap, okay? What Komodo does, it allows us to organize specific talks. So what I do is I organize the entire screen. So for instance, this is just a small little example of this, okay? This one right here, okay? This one, right? I'm speaking with Daniel, I believe, unless my mind's not working right, about his project, about what he's doing, okay? And I'm not going to go into too much of the depths of this project, okay? I'm not going to go into those specific things, okay? But what it is, you can see I have the same setup on the screen. I have the middle section. I put the notes or videos or whatnot in the top left so I can have a live video session with them, okay? Again, this one I switched. I put the notes in the bottom so you can see it in the bottom. I have my dashboard with all my notifications and XYZ, so that way I get my notifications here. I have my message, so you can see again in this side, you can see my messaging, right? And I have my AI here, and I have these things. Again, I know this is complex, so what we're doing, I'll just show you. We're making it simple. We're bringing it into a sales hub. This is how we make it simple, right? Sales hub, you have all of the training and everything that you absolutely need. And then there's processes, and then you follow the steps, the exact steps, the exact steps. And then instead of doing like, oh, I need to click this and put this here, the system will tell you what to do. It'll say, hey, open Komodo. Here's a link. You click on it and you record. You'll say, okay, perfect. Next thing, you're going to open this because the reason that we have this guy, right, is data. If you notice these processes and the structure of these processes and what we build, right, they have relevance. It's not just we're building it because we're building the exact steps, the exact processes, the exact infrastructure. This again, what training with the trainings and stuff do. So let's say you're serving it. Now you know how to do this stuff, right? We walk through the exact pieces, the exact sales process, which is the authority, right? It's gaining authority, the dream, pain, bridge, the discovery, the presentation, asking for the objection. I know that's people are like, well, asking for the order. No, ask for the freaking objection so you can overcome the objection, right? Ask for the order after you overcome the objections. Don't hide away from objections head on, right? Ask for the order and then the handoff, the fulfillment side. So we cover all of those pieces. We put links for the video, for everything so people can do it, right? But I'm just going to show you the actuality. So the actuality is we have a recording. So let me step back. We have a recording, right? We have the diagrams in which we're building because we have the G-funnel system with all of the softwares that we would ever need to build and fulfill those specific needs, right? That's why we have these softwares. We even have the back-end systems to do it. And then we have on the right side, we have our AI. So then now let me kind of show you a process. So pretty simple, okay? So the first thing, recording. saved, transcribed, copied, added. Does that logic make sense? Hopefully. Okay. What I mean by that is this transcription will happen, right? It'll push into this. We'll then have this transcription with this call with all of the notes and attachments. We then copy this transcription. We then have a personalized system built, again, knowledge-based system project system built within the AI hubs. We grab that information, we paste that information over here. We ask it specific things, like a specific way in which we organize stuff, a specific way in stuff and how things work. Again, this is the surface level. Next, we'll be doing all of that stuff for you if I'm teaching you that. It will then process and organize the specific data and everything that we need to execute. It'll know the integrations because of the knowledge in which we have, the knowledge in which we've programmed for it. It'll know kind of everything that it'll do, and it'll build those steps for us. Now those steps will go into the AI employees, where we just plug them in, right? Plug them in, like certain AI employees, we plug them in, and then sure enough, it processes data and it spits us out a true, organized, exact executive summary of the project that we're working on. Organizes all of that stuff, spits out from that chaos to a very defined process that we can execute. Then, based on the module, so again, if we need to look and feel of the module, based on the module, we don't stick ourselves in GHL or lead connector and say, we are only going here and we're not expanding. We're limited with capabilities. We don't do that. We expand in whatever software will get it done. And we've already organized and researched those prior to. That's what our connections and our tool sets do. Then we plug into that, right? And then we build it. So let's say it's like a dashboard like this. We have all of the information. We have the looks and the feels and the processes. We have the executive summary. The only thing that we might need is a data dump. And there's two ways for that data dump. Number one, and I'll move back to me. Number one way is a interconnection between Google Drive. Simply you share cam@gfunnel.com to your Google Drive or admin@gfunnel.com to your Google Drive. What that does is that automatically connects into our AI systems. Now our AI systems can go and scrape that stuff, whatever is relevant. It'll read through the documents. It'll find the branding guidelines and everything if you have them. If you don't have them, we organize it, which was the last video. We'll go and we'll organize absolutely everything for you so that way your SOPs and everything's all organized. Whether you need your own organizer within your own Google Drive or you don't have anything and you need a place to start, we organize all of that stuff so it's all there for you ready to execute, right? We do it for ourselves, we do it for you, and we do it for the AI. That's why we do it. So that way, if you're selling a business, it's for you. You have everything organized, very easy to sell. If you're giving the information to AI, the AI can easily go through it because it's indexed the way in which it desires to be indexed. If it's for us and we need access, we can go through the access. Like you're like, oh, I don't know where to add my content. It's like, you have Google Drive, just add your content there or add it in you can add it wherever you choose. Do you want it in our project management piece? Add it there. What are you comfortable with? How does your operations work? We design those operations around you, right? And then from there, guess what happens? Again, I'm getting a little complex. I'm going to step back. Then we have a complete deliverable. Like a complete deliverable would be something like this, right? And maybe this is just surface level, but we would have a complete scope of deliverable, okay? So let's just say it's a website, it's a design, right? Doesn't matter what software we design it on, as long as we can get either Claude Code or something to integrate, Lovable to integrate, whatever it is. We just want to make sure that the performance is the very best. We don't care where it's at, just if it's slow, we're not putting it on something that's slow. We want it to perform. So we put it on the places that it will very best perform. We'll optimize the images to make sure the load speeds and everything else are perfect, right? That's what we do. So then we build a micro SaaS or whatever that executive summary is based upon all the tools that we have, right? This is one of them. We have, like I said, crazy amounts of tools in here. So jump back. Like there's quite a few of them. They're not ours. Like this system is just how do we organize things for people, right? So then we would say, oh, what do you need? You need an API system. Do you have an 8N? No, I have Zapier XYZ. It's like, great. We're not going to use Zapier. It takes us too long. We're going to implement this and make sure it's done. We're either going to give you an account to N8N or you put it on your own server. We don't care. Use the free one. We don't care. Just get it done so we can inject the JSON file. Then what we do is we inject the JSON file, right? So then we would grab the information and we would inject it. And let's say this is the backend processing, the backend data information. We would then inject it, and then it comes in and it builds out our entire system, every detail of the system, because we've programmed it to do so. And then what we do is we go through and we test each variable, make sure it works. Then we connect each variable, and then we put test data through it and then live data through it to ensure that all of the processes are connected well, it's functioning well, and everything's working. That's just what we do, okay? All that's done in the exact same time that we're communicating. We don't have to sit there and write out the project scope. It's already been written out. We already know exactly what needs to be done. We know the exact processes that need to be done because during the discovery call, we've built out the exact processes. So we know all of the information. So jumping back here, we know all the information. We have the knowledge because we got the data dumps. We have all of the software because we're interconnected. And we have all of the skill sets because they're pre-programmed skill sets. Now we push off who's the responsibilities for what. Do we need a specific person to do specific stuff? If the answer is yes, cool, delegate to them, right? We delegate to them through the system. So then we can say, okay, team members, jump into a team member, right? And then assign a specific team member, right? Not a big deal. But we go and we do those things. If it's AI based, we already have the AIs programmed for it. Then we organize absolutely everything, right? So it's done. And then we go through and again, we test the data. We then show the client, like, here's what you have. Is this what you like? Is this XYZ? And I'll design a module for that. So that way they log in and express it and see it. I'll just build like a database. So again, this is part of the evolution. I'm just showing you. I'll build it right within here. So if I'm within the services and you click on my account, right? So my account, there you go. Now I'm in my account. I'll just build a section within here so people can click on that and then they'll have an approval. I'll just build it on the project side. So it'll be waiting approval. They'll click on waiting approval and then it'll show all of the details within waiting approval. It'll have the cards. They can click on the cards. They'll click on check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark if it's approved. And then in our system, we'll say, hey, this has all been approved. Let's go, right? So that will be an evolution. So 2 evolutions that we'll add. That's one of them, making sure that those systems are perfectly done. So the end user, let's say it's you, let's say it's your clients, let's say it's just whoever is submitting XYZ. The end user has a specific way to communicate, a specific way to approve, and a specific way to make sure that they get all of the value done for them quickly. We show them their time savings so that way they can say, oh, that website was built within 3 hours. All the integrations in XYZ, that was normally a $3,000 project or budget. We can say, cool. Well, now 3 hours saved you that much time. And now they can see their total investment, see their savings, which then eliminate churn and make them want to be with us, right? Want to be with the system. And then stepping back, we have our AI systems. So again, people jumping in here, they can hire their own people, which we connect into like 300 different job boards. So we can easily hire people, organize people. We can easily organize the applications because we have a backend system, or we can add AI for that. So now you have the AI, the people, and you have the intermediate, the people talking. You can connect, each email is connected to each company. So you can manage and be a user within each company within the same easy type system, right? Showing you those things. And then to step it back even further, do you notice any branding? There's no branding on this module, right? Maybe, I mean, you look on the outside, there is, right? Like you're in the GFO portal. But the second piece is now people will be able to grab this specific module, this complete fulfillment module that's interconnected with the AIs and everything, and they'll be able to embed it within their own agency. And now that it's embedded within their own agency, they have a dedicated team or list of teams or service departments ready to execute their exact ideas and the exact desires instantly within their own operation. They don't even have to log into our platform anymore. Wherever their operation is, like we want them to log in our platform, of course, because it's easier. What I mean by easier is you have your service departments here. You have all of the tools, so we can custom build all of the tools and presets. Heck, we can even custom build a whole page for their entire enterprise. That's easy, right? So that way they can easily manage customers. If you're like, well, I don't know if that's a good idea. This is how good of an idea it is. I need to run advertisement. I click on the advertisement piece. It pulls up. I have the connected software. Let's just log into the connected software. I have the connected software. Okay. It then loads. I'm still in the same dashboard. I want to run ads. I click on the ads. I have my ads pre-done because most cases we pre-create the ads, we pre-create the target audiences, we pre-create most everything based off information that we have, where now somebody can say, ooh, I like this. Let's launch it, right? Let's go. And now they can launch their own marketing systems, or they could jump in and manage their own brands. So like, again, if they wanted to do those type of things, they could work as an individual, they can work as a business, they can work as an agency, all within the same platform. They can access all of that separate, disconnected software in an easy to use fashion. Like for instance, I want to run a contract. I can log into Lead Connector, or I can just log into Contract Hub, right? It's right there. It makes it so you don't have to have 50 different folders on the top of your screen that are bookmarked. The next thing, right, stepping back even a little bit more, let's just pretend that you're not operating from your own computer. Let's say you have to go to a library. You have to go use your phone. Well, now you have accesses to all of the different softwares and everything that you need, because most cases bookmarks don't transfer unless you're using some like Chrome extension or whatever that transfer those things. Especially in the libraries, they don't really do that. But let's separate that on device, because that's different computers, different phones. But what happens when you jump into like the metaverse or anything? You put on your meta goggles and you're ready to work. Imagine you log into one site, has accesses to all of your softwares, all of your systems, all your support, everything. You can run your entire operation from goggles, right? And goggles are evolving to the sunglasses. Imagine you can run the entire company by putting on a pair of sunglasses, talking to the AI, clicking your little thumb ring thing to continue, and the entire operation and everything that you're serving and you're creating is done for you. That is GFOL. It's the digital realm. I mean, I'll just summarize it that. It's the digital realm, period. It has its social media pieces. So if you want to do your network and expand your network, it has that. Right? When you come into the platform, again, we're rebuilding that piece. When you come into the platform, because not everybody wants to create. Some people want to learn. Some people want their business ran for them. Some people want to manage other people's businesses. Some people say, screw that, I don't want to do anything, I want to sell. So we have our partner system. So again, our revamp is, again, another, we'll call it filter, but it's just organization. It's, what are you? Who are you? What are you doing? Right? And we have a big modules built for that, where it's like, well, I'm a business owner. Perfect. What's your role? Well, it's this. Perfect. And we start defining things so that way we can start customizing even the experiences that you have, what you do first, what you do second, what you do third, what you do last. So there's no guessing anymore. And that way you don't have to follow the fake gurus trying to teach you, well, you should do this and this and this. It's like, screw that. Those courses don't work. I'm biased on those things because I just feel a course is something and an experience is something else. Like, and I'll give you a comparison of why. Again, this is my bias. You can judge me on this. A course, I give you a course with content, with videos. They'll say, yeah, let's build social media. And you get so lost in the lack of dopamine, we'll call it that, the lack of fun, the lack of experience that you're like, screw this. Gosh, there's videos. I just don't want to freaking watch them. I've been watching them on 2X and it's just, gosh. Two, that's one side, to the experience. Now, let's say the experience comes in, which we'll be working on this shortly too. Once the technology is there, if not, we have to build the technology, where you ask it a question and it gives you the experience. Where you have an AI and you're like, you know what? I want to run social media. It's like, oh, perfect. Let me help you. Okay. And then it shows a video of somebody on a computer as if you're watching over their head and it says, I want you to do this. Can you do that for me? And then it tracks what you do to ensure that you do it. Then it does it again and again. And it walks you through as if it is a father teaching a child how to act, how to do. And it teaches you based off of what you desire. And it's interconnected into all of the information. And now, again, why I say the technology there, like VO3 is getting there. It's getting close. Some of these AI softwares are getting close, but they're not quite there yet. Because again, we want that complete interactive solution where again you put on the goggles. You've never built a website in the world. You don't have the funds to pay somebody to do it, right? You want to do it yourself, but how do you do it? And the system, the AI, the solution, right? You can call it the avatar, walks you through it step by step, ensuring that you're going through it versus telling you to do something. It guides you, it ensures that you've done it. And it's not just, did you do this check mark? Did you do this check mark? It's like, no, no, no. Walks you through it, looks at your screen, it says, I saw the error that you had. Let's learn. Do you want me to teach you it or do you want me to do it for you? I want you to teach me. Okay, well, you do this because of X. Imagine this interactive experience. That's education. That's what we're building here. With that being said, what I'm going to be doing is jumping off here. I wanted to give you enough information, right? So that way you have a surface level of the evolution. This is just one sector, right? This is our service hub. The next sectors that we'll be focusing on are a few of them. So again, we have our partner hub. We'll be focusing and expanding that shortly. We have our learning hub. So a learning hub, we're going to be doing it where based off the data and information, we're going to have courses automatically create themselves to be able to teach you anything and everything that you desire to learn. Right now we have business structures within here, and then we organize it within specific modules, right? So then you can see these specific modules if you want to learn
Every
it. Again,
successful
this is
business
AI,
starts with a single
100%
decision.
AI,
The decision.
right? You can learn from the AI. You can do whatever you want. You can say, I need an expert in this, and then we can now speak to you, right? I need an expert. You click on that, schedule a call. We'll get you taken care of. That's one side. Or you can say, I want to access the specific overview or modules. You'll be able to do that. There'll be dedicated sections for each one, dedicated communities for each one. So it's not only communal support on each one, it's the information, it's the files, it's everything that you need within that specific sector. We'll be building these out more. But this is just surface level, right? Surface level is if you're going into business, this is probably the information that you need to know, right? Then we'll jump into the event stuff. We'll jump into the live workshops. We'll jump into the upcoming summits. So you can do upcoming summits. We'll have live question and answers. So you can come in and ask question and answers. And at any time you ever need support, support's there. Anytime you ever need to learn, it's there. But that's our learning hub. We'll be expanding that shortly. But that's kind of the evolution, if that makes sense. So the evolution of what we're doing, how we're expanding, we're my goal is to get close to that singularity, right? What I mean by singularity is your thoughts become the reality. That's singularity, right? Get as close as I can to that. And again, the biggest reason goes back to my big agenda. My big agenda is if I can serve people and I can serve people correctly in such a way that they deserve to be served, not just this superficial bullshit, right? But if I can truly help and impact the individuals, I get an agenda from that. Okay. And I'm being transparent with you. I get an agenda. I have an agenda. I get a desire from that. And what the desire is the processes and the way in which my mind functions, right? I feel that anyone can do it. Anyone. I mean, I'm no one. I wouldn't consider myself as anything special besides I'm a human and all humans are special, right? But I get to embed my processy within the mind of the human. If I get to embed my processy there, I and my process and my desires, they live on for eternity. They live on forever. Because again, if it's successful for you, what do? You pass it down to your kids. If it's successful for them, what do? They pass it down to them, and so on and so forth. And the process continues to evolve, continues to expand. That's my desire. I know that's a weird desire, but that's my desire. Okay. I have specific reasons for it, which I won't dive in on this live. But if you want those specific reasons, you can always reach out to me. I'll do a live call with you and I'll explain those specific reasons. But stepping back, that is the digital structure that we have. We have two other structures too. Okay, so we've separated this almost into what we would call three kingdoms. This is the digital, the metaphysical. This is like the KPIs. This is the expansion of self, right? And again, I'm going to get a little weird on this. This is one vertical. The other vertical is fundamental reality. The projects in which we're serving jump into agriculture, they jump into the farming, they jump into the medical, they jump into the, we call them the physical realm. So it's certain technologies that will be embedding, same thing, embedding the processes in which I discover, the processes in which I learn, embedding those into the way in which fruits are grown, the way in which our produce are grown. My goal is to, on that spectrum, on those sides, is to um, rapidly evolve the vegetation of crop. And I want to rapidly do it in such a way that anyone can plant vegetation in any environment, doesn't matter, and by planting in that environment, vegetation grows. So that way it can feed people, it can help people, it can do those things. That's one side, that's agricultural. The other side, and again, I'll be flying out. They wanted me to fly out tonight. I couldn't fly out tonight to Idaho to go over the organization operations of all of those things. I have to fly out probably next week, right? But I'll show you what I can, so that way you can see some of the technologies and whatnot. That's one side. The next side is the medical sectors. I think the medical pieces are going wrong. And again, who am I to say this? Nobody. I just look at the process. But I look at those specific pieces, and there's a lot of gaps to fill. And if we can fill the gaps within, again, it's technology gaps and whatnot within the medical field, I feel that we can do some good in healing people and helping people on that side. That's one side. The manufacturing side, again, think of it as all of the physical realm, right? I call it fundamental reality. That's another vertical, but that vertical it's not branded as G-funnel. G-funnel is just, I had the choice. On the digital side, I chose G-funnel. That's why it's on the digital side. On the other side, it's a different brand, right? It's a different brand, and we have different connections, which we'll go through. We have some cool VPs and whatnot that are coming in on that side, so which is kind of cool. That's one side, and then the third vertical, right? So again, there's three verticals. Is the self, the source type vertical, right? And that one's the nonprofit that we have in the background called holyshare.org. Right? You can always jump on the waiting list to HolyShare. HolyShare.org is a union of all of the religions. Why am I doing that? I feel everybody has great stuff. Great stuff. It resonates with people. It shares love. It shares vulnerability, which is amazing. It brings people closer to self, brings people closer to source. Is it done right now? No, I don't think so. That's just me. That's just my mind. That's my opinion. Maybe it is, right? I don't think so. I don't think the certain religions do things correctly. I don't think people are served correctly on that specific scope. I don't think the way in which the service and the way in which the process is, I don't feel that it's done correctly. So I'm just building my own. Whether people join it or not, I don't care, right? I just don't care. It's the other sectors. And all of those sectors, those three, we'll call them those three kingdoms, those three sectors, they feed off of one another. Meaning, on the physical realm, if we can jump into a foreign country, that foreign country needs agriculture. We can build out the agriculture. We can grab those individuals and we can help, let's say, those tens of people. That one person, doesn't matter if it's one or tens or thousands, right? Again, our systems are designed where one person can serve 1,000, two people can serve 10,000, right? There's a rapid growth in the way in which we can serve. That's why we're building it. But if we can jump into those sectors right there, you see the funnel. Hopefully you see the funnel. We jump into those specific sectors. They're not in the right age yet, the technology age. Maybe they're in the Stone Age. Maybe they're in the Bronze Age. Maybe they're in a different stage or age of life, right? So you build and fill all the gaps within that technology and you complete it. So that way you're helping grow humans to the next piece. And that next piece is, again, you're into a state of union, oneness, abundance, right? So they have the food, they have those things. That's the state. But anyways, that's what we're doing. So if you want to know the behind the scenes, this is a technology sector. You can see that in depths, maybe that we go into the technology sector or that I typically go into. In that specific sector, I mean, I am probably going to be in that entire space. I'll probably be like chief architect. Basically, I architect all of the processes, the operations, the way in which things work. I touch into the vision because I want other people to have the vision as well because I don't know everything, right? I know processes. I'm good at processes. Um, and it's the same thing with the religious piece. I don't know enough. I mean, do I read stuff? Yes, I do. Do I know the stuff? Yes. I'm a process person. So same thing in that organization. If you're somebody who is very religious, right? And I don't mean the religious where you kick out every other religion. I mean the religious where you're open to everyone. You do it the true way. Those are the individuals that I look for next. In that specific sector, it's pretty easy. We already have the charity and everything in place. We have the technology mostly in place. I'll build out more. And then once it's done, I just need the specific leaders to be able to run it for me that are smarter than me, that are better than me. That's all I need. Place you, get your technology, get whatever it is, whatever the resources, whatever that we need to be able to scale that part. And then we use those three different pieces to go back and forth to grow and grow and grow. Think of it like a monopoly. Monopoly is just two. We're kind of a monopoly of three. So think of it as a spiral going up. And the goal is to slowly consume everything, right? But in a positive way, not like a consume for destruction. It's consume for service, consume for enlightenment, consume for giving people what they deserve to do, and realistically, it's freeing them. That's what our services do. It's freeing you from that time strength and freeing you from the chaos because there's so much chaos there. And what I'm learning, the more that we build, is like it's kind of like this. Um, you could like open a fire hose of chaos at me or at the solutions in which we have, and we feed off of it. That's where we're at. It's not give it to us small. No, it's like, do you have a bigger hose? Can you feed us more of that chaos? I know that sounds so weird because everyone's trying to run away from the chaos, right? If you can feed us that chaos, we can then organize it. Because again, what drives us is feeding of chaos, the organization of chaos, to the transition of creation. So we can turn that chaos into creation, which follows the same metrics of life and how life works. All of those metrics, if you go deep enough, you'll see the principles, you'll see everything that is designed within our software and our technology and everything that we do. It's the way in which I think, if you've ever had a deep conversation with me, you're going to realize it's going to go to one place. Always goes that one place. Always, no matter what. We have the surface level piece, which is all of the business stuff. We have the resignation or the way in which we resonate, we have that piece. And then the deeper it goes down to that specific perception piece. Once you dive there, it's a same conversation, roughly. And I'm sure that a lot of people who have experienced this can vouch for it. It's the same conversation that happens, but it's a very, very unique conversation. It's kind of, think of it as like you have a mastermind with an inner circle, and then you have people that only learn that knowledge that jump in that inner circle. It's kind of like that, but without the restrictions. Anyone at any time can gain it. Anyone at any time can call. I don't need to charge people. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for those things. I do it for the process. That's really what I do it for. Anyone can do it, but not everybody is ready for it. Like I said, it gets a little crazy going down that path. Let's step back just a little bit. Summarize what we covered. Okay, so what we've covered, besides a little bit of the ending stuff to kind of go down those pathways, what we covered is just the evolution of the service department. And we have a lot more pieces in play. So this way we'll have an extension of ourselves into any service. I'll explain what the next steps are of this one. So the first steps is making sure all the modules and everything that I went through are sound complete, right? The next steps are decreasing, so that we want to decrease, because I'll show you right now. We kind of want to decrease, but we don't want to decrease because people don't, what I find is people do not value free. They never do. They never have. I give away free stuff and they don't value it whatsoever. But when I charge for it, they think it's the most valuable thing in the world, right? So if I could, I would completely get away from all pricings and do all of this stuff for free, right? If people actually valued it. The issue, they don't. They would rather value a guru or something with it. You're paying them $30,000 for a session than what we can actually do. And we can do 500 times more easy than those things. So now what did we have to do? We had to change it. How we changed it is we put a price filters on it. But these are price filters specifically for a reason. It's when people are ready. Our first price filter, so this way you know how we filter stuff in. Our first price filter is a zero cost price filter. It's a zero cost. We give you some of the tools, we give you the knowledge, we give you XYZ to start getting started. You can make money while getting started. The next piece is the MAP pricing, the minimal advertised price, right? Which is specifically done because softwares have a specific minimal price. So then we have to match by that. So we're matching what they say and what they offer, so that way there's no restrictions. That's what this is. We call it the MAP pricing. Okay. Yes, is it something? Yeah, let's not go down there. Then the next piece is the expansion piece. It's the business piece. It's, do you want to expand it more? Most cases, this cost covers the databases. They cover the databases, the information storage, XYZ, while we keep on building the system. So think of this as the foundation. A comparison is if you go into a casino, right? And I'm going to do the bad. You go into a casino, you notice there's slot machines, and then there's the card games and the other games, right? These slot machines where people go in and put the pennies in and whatnot, they're designed for you to lose. That's what they're designed for, right? But they store a foundational cost. They're the things that cover the electricity. They're the things that cover, if there's leasing, it'll cover leasing, the insurances, XYZ. That's what, those cover that, if that makes sense. They cover foundation. We just do it a little bit different. This, right, is a sacrifice, but it covers foundational growth. People come in, whether they're here or not, that's fine, right? If they're here, it's foundational growth. One person, right, compounds, meaning one person comes in, it usually compounds to 10 people to 100 people, meaning it costs us, like what we earn on this piece as a marginal part, and I'll just be open with you, what we earn on this piece, maybe we have a 10x margin roughly on this, right? Roughly, okay? 10x margin, roughly, okay? Same thing with this one, about a 10x margin on these things, but we have to match these because of minimal advertised pricing. But it allows us to grow. So every user that we ever get that comes in and uses our software, it supports the foundational growth of our system, of our ecosystem, of what we're building, of the support, of everything else that builds that foundation. The next piece is the services. The services, they fund expansion, right? So somebody comes in, each one of these has a specific price points that covers the AIs, that covers the tools, that covers the technologies, that covers the staffing and XYZ, right? It covers those things, but really what this does is it covers the expansion. What I mean by expansion, we get a client that comes in at $1,500 a month, right? We can spend X amount of time fulfilling that account, and we have a margin, okay? That margin will help us expand a bit. What also helps us expand is the processes in which we build. So that way the knowledge of the platform is always expanding. People have a different request each and every time. We learn, meaning it learns the process, so it expands. So this entire metric is based upon expansion, right? Expansion, right? Jumping into our last piece. Let's go into here. Our last piece, the support piece. This covers our asks and our needs. If that makes sense, our asks and our needs. That's what this covers. So why I say those and why I do that. So the first thing is your chores, right? So whenever I'm teaching project management, I say that you have dedicated chores. These are tasks in which you have to achieve on a time basis, and they usually take up between 70% and 80% of your time, AKA software. Software should cover those things, right? Software, what I mean by that is you're posting on social media, it takes up time. You're doing this, you're doing that. Software can cover those. Those are your chores. The next thing is, we call it your projects. It's how do you delegate the chores in which you need, whether you have to do marketing or you have to do content posting or whether you have to create websites or whether you have to do those specific things, right? That we call projects. Projects are designed for the expansion the expansion, systemization, delegation of the chores. So usually these things cover the chores in which you have, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And then again, asks and needs. Asks and needs are foundational pieces. So if you notice, these are for agency supports, whatnot. They usually run their own businesses, so the churn on these specific guys are a lot less. It's foundational. Like I ask, meaning I need support, right? That's a need, right? They ask like, I have a customer and they have an issue and we need to get that resolved. So they ask and we get that resolved, right? That's how this system works. It's structured with the same psychology, the same systems and everything that I teach, the exact same pieces. It's just brought into a little digital landscape so people can see that digital landscape. That's really what this is, but it follows similar teaching, similar processes. And then again, we have our organization pieces too. So my suggestion always to everybody is you create a free account. It's free. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's free. Oh my gosh, we got your email. You're getting free. You're getting free software. Okay, it's worth it. I promise. Everything is like a 100x value based off the step. Like if you pay $0, it's, I mean, of course, it's an unlimited value on any increase, but think of it as your time is valuable. You're going to get 100x on that time. That's the system at zero. At $100 a month, you're going to get, again, between 10 to 100x on that specific side. On the service side, again, you're going to get same thing, 10 to 100x on the value prop. We do this to eliminate churn. We do this to make sure we have processes smooth, and we do this for us too. I mean, it allows us to expand. So that being said, I've kind of showed you how we do things. If you're still like, well, but how do you do it? Again, I'll share it one more time. We record everything. One, transcribes everything. We build everything. Process, build everything. We have the AI for everything, interconnects all of the knowledge and everything that we need. We have the softwares for everything, right? So then we have softwares for everything. We notate everything, the database. So we notate everything. We bring that all together into a delivery mechanism and make it presentable for people. That's the system. Pretty easy, right? Record the steps. Once they're recorded and they're done, copy, transcription, plug it in AI. AI is going to be able to organize stuff. Then you need to organize what you need. That was the last video that I just did. The last live that I did was all based upon business organization. What I mean by business organization is the way in which your files and data and everything is organized. I already did that. I already gave the JSON file. Just copy it. If that makes sense. Just freaking copy it. You can copy what we do. I don't freaking care. As long as you're serving people, I don't care. Right? So we do that. Right? So again, you have your recording piece. Right? Recording piece, again, you can do this as multiple different things. If I say, hey, I want a call to action here, I can say call to action, book next session. I can do those things. That's fine. I can add attachments in here, right? Like I can add, like, here's your executive summary. I can add those things within here. I can then organize this. This is chaos. Oh my gosh, we just went through this. We drew out the processes. We have the recording of all of the ideas. We need more data done. So we organize all that chaos. We organize it into systems, usable systems. Those usable systems then tell us what softwares to use. Once it tells us what softwares to use, it literally tells us exactly what to add. So like, let's say we're building a website and we're using Lovable. Let's just say Lovable is the one that we're using, right? If we're building a website and we're using Lovable or Cursor or any of those other Bolt, right? Doesn't matter. Our AI is programmed to give us the exact thing that we need based upon all the information, based upon how it's organized, the exact thing that we need. So we grab that document as an MD or a markdown file. We plug it into the software. Most cases, we look for an AI-enriched software. And the AI frickin' does it. Meaning the agent, it's programmed for a specific task. It can now perform that said task. Does that make sense? Same thing is following that specific hierarchy. So if I'm following this specific hierarchy, it does that same exact thing. Okay, so let me save this guy. It does the same exact thing. So everything that I just showed you here is basically how the system runs. Now I'll just make it prettier. But you do that, and then sure enough, you then have this software that does one thing, this software that does one thing, and this software that does one thing, right? So like you have a few different softwares. You organize the scope. So you click on projects. We give a project management software, right? Project management software. You organize the scope, and then you push the scope into here. So create a new task, right? And this has API, so we just plug in the API. That's what we typically do. Plug in the API, and now we have the entire, here's the project, here's the project details, here's the executive summaries, here's all of this information pre-done for somebody. It's all done right here, right? We do that. That's what we do. So then we come in, we organize like whatever client that we're working on, right? We organize those specific clients. And then from there, we have processes that go and fulfill absolutely everything. So now we dictate and notate everything, all documentation, everything within the project side. Then, when we're ready for delivery, we just see what type of thread of communications does that customer desire. We don't want to say, we force you to do this. No. We ask them, what do they desire? Do you want an email? Do you want something different? The answer is, well, yeah, I want an email. Cool. We'll organize an email and we'll ship them their deliverables inside of that email. And that's basically it. And then we can build out crazy advanced stuff very quickly because the integration of everything. Again, look at this. This is just the application side. All the applications that are in here. Access pretty freaking quickly. Do things pretty freaking quickly, right? We can simulate stuff if we want to make sure the marketing system is going to work and we want to do a self-simulation. We can simulate stuff to do a self-simulation. If we need to access these specific things, I do Google Drive because I don't like Microsoft. I think Microsoft has a bad agenda. Maybe Google does too, but not 100%, right? They're good with data, right? But anyways, now it's like everything that's needed is here. And if you're like, I don't even know this stuff, and click on Master freaking Google Workspace, and now there's the information to be able to master it. What is my Google, my Gmail? It'll tell you everything on Gmail, everything that you need to know. You have agents that will come here and talk to you on basically everything that you need to know, right? On your Google Workspace. Let's say you're, well, what about my Google Meets, right? Video calls with anyone. Okay, do you need to know more about your Google calls? Okay, here's your Google calls. It'll tell you every little detail about your Google calls, right? Let's say you're like, well, what about Google Slides? Every little detail about Google Slides, how they work, every little piece from all of the partners that are connected to the marketplaces that are connected to, every little piece that is dealing with that is all right here organized for you. Every little piece. So would it be pretty easy to master those things? I think so. That's just me. So that being said, if you have any questions, if you're like, well, this is cool. Hey, Kim, I want to do this. What's this? What's that? Right? Any of those things. What you can do, let me close this guy. This browser is going a little slow right now. But if you have any questions on how we do things, if you want help with those things, then all you've got to do is pretty simple. Reach out. Let us know. Very first thing, very easiest thing is to create your free account. So create your free account today. It's pretty easy to do. We'll start creating your visions, your ideas, and everything very quickly and get things implemented for you so that way you can start making money and doing the things that you desire most. So that being said, my name is Cameron Garlick. If you have any questions, as always, reach out and I'm here to serve. Thanks so much. We'll see you.